Today I'm going to talk about a tool called Git Bisect that comes bundled with Git, and it's quite powerful because it helps us pinpoint the exact commit in which we introduce the bug. So let's get started. Okay, so I have a to-do app here, nothing special, the typical to-do app that I created for this example. And when I created it, I made many commits. That's something that I usually do, so that I split my development in several small commits, which I find much better to track my work and to detect where I messed up if I messed up. So the things that this to-do app works more or less as expected. For example, if I write buy milk here and I press add, it gets added, but it has an issue. The issue is that the input is not cleared after I press that. So how do we go about fixing this issue? It turns out we have several options, and obviously it depends on the context, right? The first option, something that most of us will probably do, is just fix it right away. Most probably we will know exactly where the issue is and we will fix it. That's it. What we're gonna do is just add a new commit after head. Remember that head is our current working directory, so we are gonna add a commit after head and we will fix the error right away. However, I want to talk about situations in which we cannot do this because maybe we have a very big code base, or we are working in a project that is really big and there are a lot of commits, and we don't know exactly when a thing might have broken. And in that case, what we will probably need to do is to find the culprit, right? Find which is the commit in which we introduced the bug. Because if we can't find the commit, it will be much easier to know why the bug is there, especially if we are using small commits, right? Obviously, if a commit has a lot of code, a lot of changes, it might not be that useful to find the commit that introduced the bug. In general, finding the culprit is something that will probably help us a lot. If we agree that we want to find the culprit, how can we find it? There are many options here, right? So maybe the first one would be just guess. So for example, we know that in the last commit, if head points to the last commit, the code is broken, it doesn't work, so we might move to another commit and see if it works. Maybe in this case it will still be broken because the bug was already introduced, and we can keep on guessing, moving head to different commits until we get to a point in which we detect which was the commit that introduced the bug. So this can work, but it's probably not that efficient. So let's take a look at another option. Second option is just going backwards until you find the culprit. This is quite simple. You start at the last commit, you go one commit back, check whether or not it's working, and you keep on going until you stop having the bug. And that means that the commit right next to the one that you're standing on is the culprit. So this option is fine, but as long as you don't have a lot of commits to go backwards. If you're in a project that has a lot of commits and you have to go backwards 100 commits, you will spend a lot of time searching for the culprit. So is there any other option to speed up this process? Okay, fortunately there is, and it's exactly what I want to talk about in this video, which is Git Bisect. So how does it work? Well, first of all, as always, we start with head pointing to our latest commit, which by the way is broken. So basically what we have to tell Git Bisect is that this commit is bad. Bad in the sense that the code is not working at this stage. So we will see that there's a way to tell Git Bisect that a certain commit is a bad commit. So once we tell it that our current commit is bad, we have to move our head to another commit, and here is like the manual part. We have to move our head to a commit that we know is good. So most probably we will just check our commit history and find a commit in which we were sure that the code was working. Probably the commit that introduced the feature that is not working now. So the moment we introduced the feature, everything was working. So we tell Git Bisect that this one was a good commit. And now the magic begins. Head is moved automatically, and Git Bisect will ask us whether or not this commit is good or bad. So in this case, we will have to mark this commit as bad. After this, Git Bisect will move head again to another commit. In this case, this is the culprit, and it will ask us if this commit is good or bad. We're gonna test our app, and we'll see that in this case, the app is not working, or the feature is not working, so we're gonna mark this commit as bad. And Git Bisect will keep on moving head. So now that this one is good and this one is bad, it will ask us about the commit in the middle. We will tell it it's a good commit, and at this point it will tell us that the first bad commit is the one that I just circled. So that's it. That's the theory behind it. What you need to remember is that what's happening under the hood is just binary search. If you don't know what binary search is, let me know in the comments and I can make a video about binary search, or you can just search binary search in YouTube and you will see a lot of videos talking about that. I think that's it. So let's take a look at how everything works together and how it looks in real life. Okay, so here we are at the terminal. I'm gonna spin up a server with npx serve just to open the app in localhost. And as we can see, if I press add, it won't get removed from here. So we have the issue at the moment. So how do we use Git Bisect? Okay, the first thing to do is Git Bisect start. It tells us status waiting for both good and bad commits. So what we have to do now is tell it that the current commit is bad. So Git Bisect bad does the job. Now it tells us waiting for good commits, bad commit known. The thing here is that I will have to check my history and find a commit in which I know everything was working properly. So taking a look at this, I see this commit here, clears input after adding, in which I think it should work because it is the commit in which I introduced the feature that is not working now. So let's try that. I'm gonna copy the commit ID and git check out that commit and see what's going on. See if the app is working or not. So let me reload here. Hello, add, and it works because whatever I type in here gets added, but then this input is cleared. So that means that I can do Git Bisect good, and that way I'm telling this commit is good. So it tells us bisecting, 2 revisions left to test after this, roughly 1 step. So it tells us how many steps we have to do before it can tell us which is the first failing commit. So now, all of a sudden, without doing anything particular, Git already changed the commit. So if I don't know if we're gonna be able to see this. Yeah, actually here, when I marked this as good, the commit ID was 3C5 and so on. And now you can see that this commit is different. Git Bisect just checked out a different version automatically. So now we have to reload and check if this is working. It is. So we're gonna tell it that this is good. Bisecting 0 revisions left test after this. So we have to test it again, roughly one step. It doesn't tell us exactly how many steps, it's roughly. So we have to tell it whether or not this is working. Let's check it out, reload, and add. And it's not working, so we're gonna tell it that this is not working. Git bisect bad. 0 steps. So let's go back to the app, write something, add, not working again. So git bisect bad. And that's it. So it tells us that this one is the first bad commit. We can actually check the diff here. For example, we can do git log minus p and check what might be the issue that introduced the bug. Here, for example, we can see here input.value equals nothing. This was before and it's not there anymore. So that must be what's causing the issue. Let's also open the editor just to double check. So here, index.js, add to list, it's not doing any sort of clearing, and that's what's generating the issue. So now that we know where the issue is, thanks to Git Bisect, we can go back to the terminal and start fixing the issue. To do that, we first have to go back to the latest commit and stop the bisecting process. We can just do git bisect reset, and it will take us to our latest commit again. Obviously, the app won't be working. We can do something like this, or something like this. It's not the focus of this video to explain a lot about how to fix this. It's just an excuse to have some extra fun and show how this gets fixed. So we add something and now it's clearing whatever we wrote here. So yeah, that fixes the issue. Let's commit our change. So fixes the input not being cleared, and that's it. We can push our changes. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, it helps a lot. Thanks.